guys, Nikki Wood here. So today we're going to talk about a really interesting spiritual experience that some people have, and that is what happens when you have people visiting you either at night or in your dreams. Because getting this type of energy in your bedroom while you're sleeping that's supposed to be your safe space can be a little bit like discombobulating and unnerving, and depending what's actually coming at you, sometimes people get nervous or scared. So today we're going to talk about some basic techniques and methods that you can do in order to protect yourself while you're sleeping from anything that you don't want to be bothering you. So the first thing that I would say is that crystals are a really good way to do this. For me, I have a lot of different crystal things that I do in my bedroom. Underneath my bed, I have a crystal grid that has black tourmaline on it. And it also has a self-cleaning little selenite piece in the middle, so if I do not charge it as regularly as it needs, I won't necessarily wake up with a nightmare or with somebody kind of poking at me, trying to ask me to do something for them, or anything of that measure or sort. Another thing that you can do too, this is really cool, so you can take regular clear quartz crystals, and you can take 4 of them, and you can either put them in the corners of your room, or you can put them in the directions of your room, meaning north, east, south, and west. And this will create sort of an energetic kind of protective grid to kind of hold you down while you're sleeping and clear the space of any negative energy that you might be experiencing while you are trying to rest. Like I mentioned before, I do have a crystal grid underneath my bed. I tend to keep it on the side that I sleep on. So if you're sharing a bed with somebody and you're having more problems than them, you might want to keep it closer to your side. You can try the middle and see if it works. Maybe if you each want your own, that's cool too. Some other things, I keep crystals on my nightstand, and I also keep crystals either underneath my pillow or in my pillowcase, because sometimes I will want to grab onto them and that energy will help ground me and buffer other things out. Sometimes it's just the protective energy of that stone will kind of throw something up for me, and that will help also. The last little trick that I kind of like to do with these is I will take a little crystal and I'll hold it up here like on my third eye. And what I feel like that does is if I'm using a crystal that's protective in any way, it will kind of buffer out a lot of that energy that I'm absorbing, because a lot of my stuff comes in through my clairvoyance up here in my third eye. So if I kind of shut that down and block it off, it blocks the flow of energy and it blocks the flow of everything that's coming in towards me. So if you're somebody that doesn't know how to shut it down in other ways on your own, or there's so much coming at you, you can just, you can fall asleep and just put a little one like right up there on the top and let it roll until you feel better. And then of course try to take it off so you don't conk yourself in the head or the eye or the tooth or something if you roll over in the middle of the night. But what I have found is that really does kind of cut the cord and cut the connection a little bit if you're having a hard time kind of dimming it or shutting it off. So some other things that are helpful for protection in the bedroom are, first of all, I would say too, if you get something really weird or gnarly, whether it's a bad dream or whether it's a nightmare, or whether it's some sort of ghost or spirit just wanting you to do something or saying hello or trying to get your attention that you're uncomfortable with, definitely sage your room the next day. I use frankincense myself because it packs more of a power punch and I have a lot of really heavy energies around me. So if you think that that might be your case too, you can use frankincense as something a little bit heavier. If you are not into like scents and things like that and you're a little bit sensitive, copal is a really good one to use too that doesn't have that issue or won't create that issue for you. All right, so another thing that you can do too is you can kind of set up a ward or protective circle or protective space. So there's different ways that you can do this, and pick one that sounds fun for you. One of the things you can do is you can put protective symbols on the door of your bedroom and also on your windows, because this is where a lot of energy comes in, because a lot of times you're opening and closing these things a lot. Not for me because it's summer in Phoenix and it's 109 and nobody's opening that window for a couple of months, but you get the idea. This is where a lot of like energy and wind and things will and just things have the opportunity to come in. So these are really great places to put your protection wards or your sigils or whatever else that you're doing. For me personally, I tend to use a pentagram because that's just something that works really well for me. And so that is something I will put a big pentagram up on the window. I'll do it sometimes with the sage, sometimes with the frankincense, or sometimes just with my finger, and I'll throw my energy into my hand while I'm doing it so that it kind of goes up there. If you want to literally put one up and put a marking up, you can. A lot of people use evil eyes. Sometimes I'll hang an evil eye for my window as well, and I really do feel like that helps kind of reject any energy that's not for me and that's not for my space. So there's lots of different things you can do with the doorways and the windowways. Another thing that you might want to try is also I will cast sort of a protective circle I only do this if something really gnarly is kind of coming at me. If a ghost or spirit wanders by or something of that nature, I will usually just ask it to leave, and I'll talk to you about boundaries and stuff in a minute. But if something really gnarly is coming in, then I will call all my corners in, I will call my angels, and I will really bump that space out and make it a really solid, secure, positive, light energy area only. And that really does seem to do the trick. If you get anything super, super heavy that's not leaving and you're freaking out, always call upon Archangel Michael, and he will come and help you. All you have to do is ask him for help, tell him what's bothering you, and ask him to remove anything that's bad out of your space for you. I've only had to do this a couple times, and he has always shown up. He's never let me down. So if you are into that, feel free to call on him, and he will be there to protect you. The other thing I want to talk about too, when you get, dreams or anything a little bit harsher than that, sometimes it's light and fluffy, sometimes it's not. Boundaries are something that is really important. They're important in our everyday life, they're important in our spiritual practice, and they're important when we're dealing with energies. And so this is how we know what we will allow in or out of our space. So the same thing, if you've got somebody that's constantly calling you, or somebody that wants to come over unexpectedly and you're not in a good mood, somebody's pushing your boundaries at work, they're trying to wheel and deal you, or they're trying to make things happen that are not feasibly possible. You set the boundary and the intention. You're just, I'm sorry, I can't do this right now, or I'll get back to you on Monday, or, whatever it is, you own your space that's for you, particularly to situations when you're not feeling well. I tend not to do any readings, any energetic work, any spells, any rituals if I'm not feeling well, because I feel like that energy is just going to go into the spell and just throw everything off. And also too, if I'm reading cards or something like that, I'm not going to really be able to help somebody properly if I'm not firing on all cylinders. So when you are creating boundaries for yourself, make sure that you are in a good energetic space too. Like if something's kept you up for a couple nights in a row, and you're just feeling slumped over, use some of the other protective barriers first, do some cleansing rituals and things like that, so you can get yourself in a place where you can kind of maybe throw up some harder boundaries. But boundaries are really, really important. Now, the other thing I will say about this is it's always good to ask somebody to leave and ask them to go with love. Because if you kind of are like, get the heck out of here, like if a human being said that to you, you get a really hard pushback. And it's the same thing in the spiritual world. They will push back as well. So make sure whatever you're doing it with a kind intention, but with a firm intention as well. And that should help you with this process with the boundaries. So those are some really great, super simple techniques that you can use if you are trying to kind of own your space and protect your energy while you're sleeping. Because we are in a little bit more relaxed state of mind and state of being, it is easier for us to pick things up. It is easier for us to kind of flow in and out of different dimensions. It is easier for us to, use our abilities. And sometimes when we're sleeping, we can't always control that. So hopefully this stuff has helped you out. If you have any questions, comments, you want to know anything else, please hit me down below in the comments and I will answer everything to the best of my ability. Until next time, thank you guys so much for watching and have an absolutely beautiful day.